Hi everybody, and sorry for a couple of minutes late. Just been setting up the ironing board and stuff, which we don't normally have. Um, Cleaned my desk off and stuff. Oh my goodness me. Anyway, we're ready. We've ostensibly completed. Oh, I've got some volume on here. Let me just get rid of hearing myself in duplicate. We've ostensibly finished the journal, the two signatures that make up the journal. I've gone through it with you and I've given you ideas for pockets and various things, so it's kind of up to you where you want to put those pockets and the tags or journaling cards or whatever that you want to put in. So I think you've had enough ideas that you can make your two signatures up. So let's assume that we're all at the stage where we've got our two signatures made and they're fairly complete. And so today is the day where we put the cover on, make the cover and attach the signatures to it. So as you might can guess, there's some ironing going to go on. That's a very rare occurrence in this house. So that's our two signatures. And yesterday I just had a bit of a run through just to make sure I kind of knew what was going on.
Move your ironing board. Yep.
Okay. So this is what I did yesterday. This is the inside of the cover. Just made a patchwork with some various bits of fabric and appliqued some flowers on them. It's fine. It's all very nice. That's the front cover there with, you might remember, Mr. Fixit had embroidered me a nature journal plaque for the front. And I was going to do patchwork for the front as well, but I really liked this fabric, so I just left it plain with this lovely plaque. And all was going fine. I was pleased with everything until I put my signatures in. And I realised, because I wanted to leave 1/2 inch over the top for this loose fabric here, and the bottom and the sides. But I realised I'd actually added on 1/2 inch and then 1/2 inch. So it turned out to be too long, too tall. So I'll have to keep that for another one. But I'm not sorry, because I really like doing this nature journal and I'll have great delight in doing another one that's just a bit taller. So that was yesterday's faux pas. Let's hope we don't have any today. I have already removed all the tags, tabs, everything that's removable. I've taken out of the signatures because it just makes them easier to sew in. So I've got them in piles. Hope they don't get mixed up, because really I can't remember exactly where everything goes. And I've selected some different fabric for today. I have selected this, which I think is really naturey, cute, but naturey. And Mr. Fixit has kindly done me another plaque for the front that I think will go nicely with that. So we should be all set. That's a theory. You know, things never go right with me, but we're not too far off wrong. So who have we got? Jen. Hi Jen, thanks for joining. Yes, we've all been thinking about Regina. It's horrible when one of us isn't well, and she's been in a lot of pain, poor lass. So I hope that you're on the right road now. KJ Journal Crafts, thanks very much. You joined us in the week. It's nice to see you with us. Thank you. What do we call you, KJ Journal Crafts? Because that's a bit of a mouthful. What's your name? Hiya Pat. Hi Hilda. Wowsy. Oh, you like the cover? Yeah, I know. Just made a bit of a faux pas. Forgot one of her new ring. Yeah, well, the thing is, you see, that Tina, Shabby Dabby Doodah, always wears a really large ring every single time. And it's kind of like her signature. So I don't really want to slide in there and look like I'm copying her. So yeah, I've just got my eternity ring. That's all I've got on, which is all I normally wear. Yeah, the fabric is cute. I've had it for years now, I think. It's nice. I like it. Yeah, Mr. F, he found some. I haven't even had a chance to go through them, but I watched it as he went through it with you, yeah, some great stuff. KJ, love, love, love the fabric. Where did you get it? It's a John Lewis fabric, which is one of our sort of posher shops maybe here in the UK. It certainly wasn't cheap, but keep your eyes open. Look at your cushion covers. If you've got nice cushion covers, make a journal cover out of it. I lasted through the second bag. Oh yeah, well, you did well, girl. You did well. Kaylee is my name. So KJ Journal Crafts is called Kaylee, everyone. So welcome, Kaylee. Welcome along. Yeah, maybe wear two. I just think that if ever she came across one of my videos, and why would she really? But if she did, she'd be thinking, that's a bit of a cheek. So I'm leaving. I don't want to make enemies. I just want to make friends. Hiya, Carol. Right. Okay. So did he. No, he didn't. Lining board material. Yeah. Well, if you were this isn't as daft as it sounds, but if you were doing a one that was sort of like this, like olden days post tubs and washing machines, that sort of thing, wouldn't this look great as the cover? I mean, just have another look at everything that's in your house, and I bet you've got loads of covers. Right, enough of the jabber. Let's get on with the business end of things. So what I'm making my cover out of is cereal boxes. Okay, so let's just move that a minute. So this is Mr. F's cereal of choice, Crunchy Wheaties. I don't like them so much myself, a bit too healthy. And this is mine, Benefit. And they're just ordinary cereal boxes. The other thing that you could use, and I have used before, is this cat food box. It's just a wee bit thicker actually as well. So yeah, anything like that for this will make what they call a soft cover. If you want a hard cover like I do for the ring bound journals, then you've got to use something a bit thicker than this, to be honest. You could get away with it. Right, so now you've seen that, the next thing is a product called Bondaweb. You might know it by the name Vilene. It comes on a backing paper like this. This is what it looks like, and it's like greaseproof paper, parchment paper, baking paper on one side, and on the other side it's just got a little bit of texture. It's furry, and the furry side is the glue. So when you iron it, running out of space here, Mr. F, I'm afraid he's kindly brought me a cup of coffee. I've got a nose, because literally to get the ironing board on, I just went like that with everything, so everything's crammed around the side. So you buy this in your haberdashery fabric shop. I'm guessing that the places where you'd normally go to get your fabric, your ribbons, your trims, etc. would sell this by the metre or the half metre. It's really useful stuff actually. I used to make a lot of baby quilts. I'm not sure if I told you that or not, but I used to make an awful lot. That was kind of my business. Well, it was my business for a good while actually. And I used to make personalised ones because we've got the embroidery machine. We could put the names on and the date of birth and where they were born and where they were christened, who their godparent, you name it. Some people wanted a lot of stuff on. And I also used to sort of digitize Winnie the Pooh or whatever. And I used to always put them onto Bondaweb and then apply them onto the quilt and then sew around them. So it was very useful for that too. So some of you may have come into contact with it before.
Some people asking if it's the same as Eton Bond.
Yeah, Eton Bond. Yeah. It depends which company you is branded. Eton Bond, Vilene, Bondaweb, they're all the same. They all do the same job. So what we are going to do first off, I saw Deborah there and Debbie. Hi you two, thanks for joining. Debbie, heat and bond is, yeah, it's awesome stuff. Wonder Under from years ago, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Wonder Under. The other thing you might have come in touch with it for is it's like it's sometimes branded as sort of an instant hemming, no so hem stuff, and you put it in your jeans if your jeans are too long and press around it and magically you tighten your jeans up. So you might know it for that reason as well. Anyway, this is what we're using. So Mr. Fix-It's kindly cut these out very accurately, and we're just going to apply it to the cardboard, to our... Now, it's sometimes a good idea, and in fact I will. I'm going to put a towel on here, because if you don't get this exactly right and it goes over, you stick it down onto your ironing board cover and it's just a pig then. Just can't move it. So I'm just going to... Please don't laugh at my towel. It's the towel that gets used for all the crafts, all the coffee staining and everything. So it's kind of not the prettiest of towels. Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you very much indeed. Lovely, that's grand. So we'll get that pressed onto there and then move on to part 2. So I'm going to have to stand up, so excuse me while I stand up. So make sure you've got it as square can be. And then you just press it down. Oh, iron's not very clean. And keep moving your iron around on it. You find the backing paper goes a bit wrinkly, don't worry about that. That just gets peeled off, but the glue will have formed a nice straight, a nice flat. Right, so that's that piece. And make sure you get the glue side down, otherwise you'll wreck your iron. Don't say I didn't warn you when it happens. So this piece now. Doesn't take a lot of pressing. If your iron's hot to start with, it won't take a lot. Did you want that, Pete? So just keep checking all the time that you've got your greaseproof paper bit facing up. I know I'm going on about it, but you really will live to regret it if you haven't.
Natalie's joined us.
Hi Natalie, thanks for joining. Thank you all for joining. So appreciate your company. I really look forward to these lives at the weekend where I get to chat with you, and it's nice to have the group now, isn't it? You know, that we can see what we're up to during the week. Right, so those are on now. So I need to
iron the fabric, do you? Next job. Is that right?
Yeah, I should have ironed this previously, but never mind. Let's just check that I've got no nasty bits on my iron.
Jen says, this is great. I don't think many show this process. I had no idea I could use the bonding stuff on paper cardboard.
Oh, yeah. And in fact, Jen, if you didn't want to put fabric on over it, you could put paper. You know, where I'm putting the fabric, you could just put paper and bond that on with Bonder Web as well. The next journal, the next signature journal that I do, I'll show you how to use another Vilene product called Paintalot. But we don't need to consider that at the moment. So this has been folded up for so long, I don't think I'm ever really going to get that fold out. But when it gets stuck down, when it gets bonded, we should be all right. quite cute, this fabric, isn't it? Perfect for a nature one, I would have thought. Maybe a little childish, do you think? I don't know. I like it. I did actually have quite a choice. I had stuff with pheasants on it. I had stuff with deer on it. I was amazed, actually. I don't know why I was amazed that we've got a lot of stuff, because I don't know. I just collect it, honestly. Right, so that's okie dokie. So I need to attach that cardboard to this piece.
You allowed a 2-inch seam, isn't it?
Yeah, I've allowed plenty round it, plenty. So take off the paper.
Jen saying you could use additional parchment between the bonder web
Yeah,
and the iron.
Yeah,
so you don't get it in the
that's brilliant. And actually, I have got a box of it, but do you think I could find it? No. So, so you just peel off the back end, and it leaves the glue layer on there, like that. Do not put your iron onto that. I tried that trick yesterday. It didn't work so well. Now I've allowed a 2-inch all the way around here, so I've got plenty room, because I don't want it to end up at 2 inches. So I'm going to put my pieces on, get them kind of straight. The pieces?
Oh. I thought you were just going to put the one on. And
yeah, I'm just going to show them if it's all right.
It's your show.
It's the show.
Need my spacer?
No, I'm going to show them. Right, so that's all the... Oh, I'm not going to get rid of that, because I might need that. As Jen says, it's a good idea to have a spare bit. So all the printed sides are the sides with the glue on. So they need to go...
Lynn Whitman would like to know how strong is the adhesive.
It's quite strong. It's strong enough that yesterday, when I ironed it to the ironing board without realising, I've wrecked the ironing board. But I could eventually get it all off, the piece of fabric I was sewing. So it's quite a good glue, isn't it, wouldn't you say?
Well, yeah. I mean, people use it for the turn-ups on the jeans and stuff, and they don't fall down, so...
Right, so just want to make sure that I've got a sort of gap all the way, you know, space, that's what I mean, all the way around it. And that it's something like straight. Now then, I want to leave 1/8 of an inch gap between here and here. And what I'm going to measure it with, I'm not going to iron all these down in one go, I don't think. But what I suggest you use, if you've got a quilting ruler, is the edge of your quilting ruler, because that is 1/8 of an inch and give you a good straight edge. But we're not quite at that stage yet. So I'm just going to iron this down. Is that straight? Is it straight? Is it straight? I think it's straight. Right, so you need a bit more heat this time to get through to the glue. But once you've got it sort of sticking, turn it over to the fabric side. Just check there's nothing on my eye. And then press it from the fabric side. That way then you can be sure and definite that you've got no wrinkles.
Regina thinks you've still got the paper on the middle bit, the spine.
Okay, my love, I'll have a look.
I think you did take it off.
I'll have a check. So that's on there nicely. Oh, I think that top corner isn't quite on. Okay, so now comes the trick with the ruler, because we want to leave 1/8 of an inch gap. Let me just check. Yeah, that, oh, part of it's off and part of it's on. Good spot, Regina. So you just put that in there, and that will give you the exact gap that you want. And same thing, just kind of tack that on down one edge. Make sure you've got it straight across the top. Flip it over and then press that down. See all the creases that were in the fabric are yielding to the glue. There we are. Same thing, get your ruler. Get that. Make sure that you're square along the bottom and the top. I think that's fine. Just tack it down one side. Turn it over and press it down. So I'll give it all a really good press just to make sure that everything's stuck. Okay, so it's not too difficult if you break it up into those sort of segments of putting your glue on and applying your card to your fabric. Right, at this stage what I would recommend is have a sit down, have a drink of coffee, have a think about life. No, I'm not going to think about life too much. I'm just going to have a drink of my coffee. Lovely. Thank you very much, Mr. F. Very kind. Is get your... Oh, Mr. F, could you get me my yoga mat? Because everything's been shifted. So, the yoga mat's now.
So we're going to have a bit of a Zen moment, are we?
Yeah, we're going to have a Zen moment. I'm going to just do a...
Get the lotus position.
A little, yeah, lotus position. Yeah, I'm really likely to do that. So, we need... It's a good idea if at this stage you make holes where your signatures are going to get threaded, because when you put your other piece on, it's not quite so obvious exactly where the spine is. So measuring it is much easier at this stage. Take it from me. Take it from me as one who has made all these mistakes. So it measures exactly 2 inches. Well, that's not divisible by 3 in any way, shape or form that I can think of. So if I do that at 5/8 and that at 5/8, that leaves me 2, 4, 6/8 in the middle. That's near enough, isn't it? So come in 5/8 from this left hand side, 5/8 from the right hand side. I'm just going to draw a line where 5/8 is. That'll help us in the long run. That's not the best side to do that with. So I'm just drawing a line down where 5/8 is, which will mean our holes should be straight. Same again on the other side, 5/8. Of course, if your spine happens to be a different measurement, which very possible in the future it will be, oh, that's 6/8, that's not good, then, you know, you're going to have to do the sums yourself. Right, so one signature is going to be attached to here, one to here, and that's going to be the gap in the middle and at each side, which the signature will fill out and take up. So it measures 8.5. Is that 8.5? Maybe not quite. Just short of 8.5. So half of 8 is 4, and it's 5/8. Come on. 2.5 8s. 4 and 2.5 8s. So there. This is really not an easy one. So I'm just going to check this in a minute to make sure 4 2.5/8, right. So I should have 4 2.5/8 up here as well. Oh no, I haven't. I've got 4 1/8. So what's going wrong there? 4 and 4 3/8. So it's 4 1.5/8. Glory. It's there. That's it. X marks the spot. And here 4 1.5. There. So that should be 4 1.5. Yes. 4 1.5. Perfect. So then I want to, bearing in mind that I'm going to have 1/2 inch hanging over here of fabric. So don't count that in your measurements. Just count it on your spine where your signatures are going to go. And I'm just literally going to come up 1 inch, which you've seen me do loads of times when we're sewing signatures in. It's going to be slightly more complex because the signatures are a bit more bumpy than we normally have them. And then 1 inch down from the top on that line that we've marked. Right, so now I'm going to punch a hole through. With,
more of a poke than a punch.
Yeah, more of a poke, admittedly, yeah. So through there, I've got, yeah, and make sure you've got your yoga mat or similar. Make sure you go through. Right, so on the other side now, we can see where our holes are. So when we come to threading them, we've got that assistance. Don't know if you can see that, see the holes we've got. Right, okay. So now is the time to sew the I'm not sewing anything yet. Make sure you've got this the right way up, okay? Because it would, with a pattern like this, it would be real easy to get it the wrong way. And we're going to apply one piece. Oh, have we got one piece of bundle work?
Oh, I don't think I cut one.
Ah, Mr. Fix-It didn't cut one.
I'll go and cut one now.
Do you want this to measure?
Just measure it for me.
Oh no, take it with you. We'll sit and talk about other things. So hopefully if we get this finished today, which we will, even if it takes me 6 hours, I will be here finishing this journal, which then says that tomorrow I can do what I like because we're not doing the nature journal anymore. So I don't really know what to do. You all right?
Yep, I'm just going to...
Oh, thought I'd made a boo-boo.
You can almost see the thing through
yeah,
there,
you can.
so
Yeah.
That's the end.
I was thinking about doing one of the kits from My Porch Prints. They're really lovely. I really like them. And then I was remembering, do you remember a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago or so, I was suggesting to you that you go and have a look on Etsy at a shop called Journal Papery. Sort of all one word, Journal Papery, Paperie. And they do retired kits and papers, just ridiculously cheap. And they do one whole journal kit that is much less than £1 or $1. And I was just wondering about whether to do something with that. Because otherwise you just collect kits, don't you? And you don't do anything with them. I know that math, oh my God, I know. When is Mr. F going to show us how to make a ring-bound cover? You're excited to try Eton Bond. I know, it's brilliant stuff. Mr. F will be showing you how to make a ring-bound cover soon. Coming, I've kind of got him booked for Wednesday to show you about coffee dyeing paper and some exciting, really exciting
Well,
stuff that we've discovered today.
Depends if I go to the car boot again. Of course, it may be Thursday.
Maybe Tuesday, maybe Thursday. Keep your eyes peeled. Depends on the weather and his frame of mind, I guess. But we've been experimenting this morning, which we shouldn't have been doing because we should have been getting ready for this. But we have discovered some real exciting stuff regarding coffee stain paper. Anyway, enough of that. So I'm putting this over the entire card that we've got. It's not in sections anymore, it's just one big piece.
The Vintage Decor have come in late and would like to know what adhesive you're using.
Can you explain?
We are using what's called Bondaweb, or Vilene, or Heat and Bond. But basically it is some adhesive that's on greaseproof paper that you use for attaching two bits of fabric together.
Or 2 bits of paper.
Or 2 bits of paper in this instance.
Yeah, and we've put it on, we put it onto the other side already. We applied it, and then we put our we peeled the backing off and applied the fabric to the sticky part of it. And now we're putting more Heat and Bond, Vilene, whatever, onto this side, like so. I'm just going to pull the paper off. Sometimes that is a job that's easier said than done. Oh, what am I doing? Sorry. Taking brief leave of my senses.
Peeling the card off.
Yeah. Trying to peel the paper off and I've peeled the card off, but never mind. It's
Miranda
glue.
Holmes would like dyed paper lesson 2. That would be great.
Dyed paper.
Yeah, that might be slightly more involved. We may have to move on to that.
Yeah, Miranda. We'll put it in the to-do. I don't know how to get this paper off now. It's stuck on. That's it. So now I'm taking the backing off. This is leaving me. You should really you should leave this till it cools down. Because when you're doing this before it cools down, you're actually taking some of the glue off with it. And ordinarily, if I wasn't doing a live, I would leave it to cool down. It comes off much easier as well when it's cool. So there we are, that's all that done. And now, get off. Now we've got the front, or the inside, doesn't really matter which way around. And we just need to put the inside or the outside, whichever it is. Be careful as well if you're putting something down on this hot Vilene, because it's still very sticky. So you put it down and it grabs it. So just take care about that.
Lace.
Oh yeah.
Ribbon.
Yes, that's very true, Mr. F. Good job you're here today, isn't it? Earning your keep. I've decided, because this is a Journal 101, so we're doing it, quite easy as we can, that I'm not going to make a fancy catch or whatever. What I'm going to do, just cut that down now, it's just a seam in the sari silk. Let's take these 2 pieces of sari silk, which I think are amply long enough to tie a bow. You can use ribbon, whatever. And I'm just going to put them in the middle. Get the ruler out again.
Well, you've already marked the middle on your cardboard, so you could use that.
Yeah. So it's just over 4, so it's about there. So that's going to go there. Like that, and spread that out so we don't get too much of a lump. Just tuck that on with the point of the iron, and same on this side. I'm really sorry, I'm very shaky today. I'm aware of that, but there's nothing much I can do about it. So that needs to go there. Like that. Just spread it out so it's a bit thinner. Just tack it on with a point. Don't come onto your glue with your iron. Right, so that will be held in place with this bit that's going to get stuck on top of it, and then we're going to sew around the outside. Or if you haven't got a sewing machine, you can do it by hand. If you don't fancy doing it by hand, you can glue it. You know, just glue it.
Staple it, rivet.
Yeah.
Attach it any way you want.
Just glue the darn thing. So I'm squaring that up with the piece that's the other side. Flatten it down. Where are we up to there? Bring it down a little bit and press it on. So there we are. So we've kind of made a journal cover. Nearly there anyway. It's looking nice. I really like this fabric actually. I love the little cute mushrooms, toadstool stuff.
Jen's just said that fabric is so cute.
Great minds, Jen.
Debbie says she's got to run, finish watching later.
Alright Debbie, thanks for joining anyway. Thank you. So make sure you've got, you know, all your edges. It'll give you a good start later on when you're sewing, if you've got all your edges down. Okay, so I think we've finished with the ironing board. So let me just get that put away and cat hair. Do without that. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Shady.
Thanks, Shady, for your input. So let me just remove this lot here, switch the iron off because it's a bit warm where I'm sat. Thank you. This is a cute little ironing board actually. It's just, you know, this size, and I got it to do crafting with, and it's great. Doesn't take up too much room. So we were the right way up. Yay! I just had visions of turning it over and one fox going that way and one going this way. Right, so the next thing to do is, oh, I'm not finished with it because I need to put this on. I've lost my bit of ironing. Trust me when I say what Mr. Fix-It's just about to do. He's about to put this bit of Vilene stuff, Bondaweb, onto the back of there. Okay, so we'll trust him to do that.
I'll probably just do it under towel because
yeah, okay.
I'll multiply your towel up.
He's too afraid to do it.
Well, I'm not too afraid to do it.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you very much.
That should suffice.
It will suffice. So I've got my. It's come. Basically, the back's just come off the Vilene, and because we've been carrying it around from place to place, so it's just the size of the embroidery.
Use a bigger piece.
And I'll just stick this over the top because it's just makes my life easier. Still a bit of glue on that actually. I'll put it that side down. And it's the same thing, just pressing the Vilene onto the fabric so then we can put it onto the journal. Aren't I lucky that I have Mr. Fix-It who does these embroideries for me? I really am. So that should be well adhered to there. Just going to give that a second to cool down. Oh yeah, well. Yeah, well.
It won't need so much thickness probably.
It's cooling down a bit. When it's cool, it just tears off so easily. But there's plenty on there. Right, now I don't really want this size, and I can't actually judge where it's going to go.
So we like on that.
Yeah. So I think the thing to do is carry on with the journal, and when I've got it so I can bend it and I can see what the front looks like, then we'll place this on exactly where we want it. So it's ready to glue. It's there. It's grand, ready to rock. So what I'm going to do now is move over to the sewing machine, and where the card finishes, there's a little bit of a ridge. It's not much of a ridge because that card isn't very thick, but I'm going to put my zipper foot on my machine. Now, for those of you that don't sew, I'm just talking double Dutch, I know that. But for those of you that do, the zipper foot will allow you to get right up to that edge there. Now, if you don't sew, this is a time where you could either put more Bondo web, then glue it down, you know, glue the two together, or just use a Fabri-Tac, any of those, and glue it. The thing is, you don't really want to be able to see the card in the middle, so you want to glue at least a little border around it. But I'm going to get cracking and get it sewn. So I'm just moving over to the sewing machine. And you have to take a bit of care, I think, when we come to where the sari silk is, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So let's see if I can find the edge. I think that's the edge there. I've got cream thread in, so shouldn't show up any mistakes too badly. So I'm just kind of feeling my way around here, letting the zipper foot do a fair bit of the work in finding the edge. Oops, missed the edge there. It's not the fastest of processes, this. Yeah, you can see there where I've come off the edge. I might not be able to live with that. Right, so when we get to the sari silk, make sure you've got it sort of spread out, fairly flattish. And just sew over it. It's really quite thin card, one of the cereal boxes. Sorry?
Got you sewing. I forgot to swap the camera over.
Oh.
I was answering a question. They can see you now. My fault, they were staring at the blank table for a while.
Oh, sorry guys. Sack the producer. So yeah, I've got my zipper foot in, and I'm still feeling ahead of it where the edge of the card is, because this bit of card in particular is actually quite thin.
Anne Lorraine Henry says she's finally found the comment button.
Yay! Well done, Anne.
And Desiree says she really needs to learn to sew.
I think it does add something to journals if you can sew. You know, zigzagging around tags, journal cards, etc. I do think, yeah, I do. I think it adds something to them. Sorry, I appreciate it's a bit boring, but this is the process. This is the process. It's fairly time consuming. In fact, making a junk journal from start to finish, it is quite a process, isn't it? It's quite an investment of time. So I'm at the other side now with my sari silk, so I'm just going to spread it out, sort of flatten it out and sew over that. Keeping right in that trough at the edge of the card. And this is our last half.
KJ says she thinks sewing on journals is a must. I think it gives that little something more.
I think it gives more than a little something. I think it really does add an awful lot. I agree with what you're saying. But for the people that don't sew, it doesn't mean your journals are rubbish by any stretch. You know, a lot more goes into a journal than just the sewing. But yeah, I agree, it does add something.
I mean, you don't need anything fancy.
No, and the cheapest machine will do it. The very cheapest, you know, second-hand machine or whatever. Right, guys, I have made... Wait, hello. Yeah, somebody was asking. I posted a picture on the... oh, come on. Sewing myself to myself. On the My Porch Prints fan page. And people were asking what sort of thread I was using. Well, this is the sort of thread that I use. It's called Coat Moon. I'm not sure if you can get it in the States. Here it's fairly ubiquitous. Most sewing shops, haberdasheries, whatever, they all sell it. And it's really cheap as chips. It's just about the cheapest thread you can get. That's not to say that that's the only thread that I ever use. Not sure. I think it's...
Drop down a bit, you're too close. Move to your right. You're on...
No, I don't think you can say that, but it's Coat Moon, it's called. Sometimes the job calls for something metallic or something variegated or whatever, and so I'm not saying that I use this exclusively, but for construction I use this exclusively. Yeah, I do.
We've got some questions.
Okay, fire away.
Bear with me. If you wanted to pad the cover out, what would you use?
Okay, well, let me answer that first. I would use, and in fact I used it on here, just to soften it. I used, actually it was curtain interlining, and I'm not suggesting that you all have that at home. We just happen to have it. What you could also use is part of an old blanket, if you have one, or part of an old fleece, you know, fleece top. Cut the back out. That would be nice, soft. Who's ever going to see it? You know, just make sure you come to the edge of the card, not on this section here, because you don't want to see your old fleece there. An old jumper, an old woolly jumper would do. Cut it out, bondaweb it on, and that would just add a bit of a softness to it. I've chosen not to do it with this one because I'm trying to keep it really simple, basically. But yeah, good, you know, good point.
That was Carrie. That's that one.
Okay.
And Max would like to know if you've ever sewn in the signatures with the sewing machine.
Oh, sewn them in.
Yeah.
I have done that. Yes.
I usually use that for
little journals and notebooks inside the journal itself. Very often I'll just sew straight down the middle of them and it's done. And there's no reason why you can't. The only thing is, it sort of looks better. It's kind of expected that you'll hand sew your signatures in, but no, there's no earthly reason why you can't just whiz up it with your sewing machine.
And Flo says sometimes the older the machine, the better it does on the thicker stuff like journals.
Well, the problem is that a lot of sewing machines, certainly older sewing machines, and I'd class mine probably now as that, were built on a metal chassis, which gives it more oomph, more punching power. And a lot of them now, even the posh ones, are built on plastic chassis. And they don't have that clout. They just don't. So you're better off buying a second-hand older machine, probably. Pick it up, see how heavy it is. If it's really heavy, it's probably got a metal chassis, and you'll be fine. Even if you have to take it somewhere and get it serviced, you'll still end up with a really good machine. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I've gone off the straight and narrow here, and I just know that I can't live with that. It's just going to drive me bonkers. So I'm going to have to unpick it. Sorry, guys. There's certain things that you just can't live with, and this is one of them.
Please do that.
Yeah, I can't see it. Thank you. Right, so the next thing that we're going to do after I finally get my sewing straight is to actually sew the signatures in. So what you do is, you've seen me do this loads of times before when we've been making little notebooks to go in the journals, but this time it is super important that you get all of your journal pages really, really squared up, so they're exactly where they should be. Okay. That was me thinking. Could you hear me? So you clip them in so they stay in one place where you want them to stay. I'm just thinking about the mark from the bottom, how I can measure it. So that's fine, I think. Oh, I've got all my signature in there. Right. Make sure you've got them really tight. It's worth spending time fiddling around at this stage to get them right. I'll just sew this along there and then time to move on. Thanks very much indeed.
Left the loose cotton in so you can see where it went from to.
Yeah, lovely, thank you. I'll just cut these ends off.
Regina's just gone for another coffee.
Good lass. Get your caffeine levels up. So I'm just going to sew along that bit where I went off the straight and narrow, because I just know I can't live with it. I just can't, so.
Pat's got to leave us.
Oh,
Says
okay.
goodbye.
Thanks, Pat, for joining.
KJ said we've got a basic brother on Amazon for £69.
Well, there you go.
It does all I need to do for journal making.
Well, brilliant. Right, so we're now straight, at least. So now comes the fun of sewing the signatures in. Right, so let's just have a look, shall we? So this is it. This is what it's going to look like. It's exciting, isn't it? I'm going to put my the nature journal. Oh, I'm going to put that on now while I can still get it flat on the iron. Thank you. Lovely, fantastic. Right, I'm probably going to need to cut around there because I can't see where I'm going. So I'm just going to get some scissors, and I'm going to cut it about that much.
That technical measure.
Yeah, it's just shy of an inch, I would say. I've got some scissors that wouldn't cut butter.
You get you some others.
Yeah, I'll struggle on like a martyr.
You're so brave.
I am. So yeah, you want about that, whatever measurement you decide, you kind of want that all the way around. I'm not sure if this is actually going to fit on the journal or if I'm going to have to take some more off it, which is a possibility. I mean, you can use a nice picture that you've got or a nice piece of fabric that you've got to make a feature on the front cover, or nothing at all. You know, it doesn't need to have something on it. This fabric here is a sort of
got to go.
Oh, bye. Thanks for joining. Right. It's a kind of fine burlappy sort of thing. Right, that's still too big, look, because that's where the journal is. So I'm going to have to... Oh, my black-handled scissors down there. Because this is ridiculous.
Well, you need to stop using them if they're not working.
Right, I'm coming in considerably here. This is about... Oh, brilliant. Got some scissors that cut. You know, that's, I don't know what that is, 3/8 of an inch even, something like that. See if that fits. Could have measured it, you know, that would have been the sensible thing to do. I advise you to measure it, because you'll drive yourself dotty otherwise. Right, let's see. Yes, hooray! But what I want to do before I sew it on, stick it on, should I say, is I just want to fray this. And this is sort of a burlappy, lightweight burlap. I don't even know if it classes as burlap, to be honest. But it's nice. It's great for this because it frays, which is what I wanted. So it just takes time to fray it out.
And Anne says not having an embroidery machine, she thinks cross stitch or embroidery is a great alternative.
Oh yeah, yes, definitely. We actually were talking about that yesterday, weren't we?
Yeah.
It's a perfect thing. Of course, there's a satin stitch border around here, and there's also the violin on the back, so it's not going to carry on fraying, so don't worry about that if you are using something like this. It's just going to stop when it hits the satin stitch and the bonder web. You can take your time doing this.
Ellen says she was thinking of doing a cross stitch one.
Yeah, I think that's a genius idea. Really nice. It would look lovely.
And makes it very personal.
Very, yes, very. Anything like that, hand embroidery and stuff, it really does. You know, it takes time, but we wouldn't make journals, this sort of journal, if we were in a tearing rush, would we? So there we are. I think just one more. I think that can get attached to there. So where's our bend in the page? Is there. So I want it fairly central. Am I hiding anything that I would quite like to see? If I move it up, am I going to see any more of anything? Nope. Let's move it down. Yeah, might as well try and get those two owls in. The fox, I'm afraid he's a goner, he's going to be covered up. So let me just stand up and make sure that that's fairly square. Yeah, okay. Now just need to put something over that. Yeah, sure. Talking of cross stitch, let me put this on first because it will move.
Started this years ago and I've never had time to get back to it.
Yeah, if you are using a machine embroidery and you've got embroidery thread, make sure that you protect it with something before you go in with a hot iron, because it's polyester or rayon and it'll just melt. Doesn't that look fabulous? That is so lovely. I love it. Could you unplug my iron, please?
Yeah.
Look at that, guys. Isn't that nice? He's so clever. Right, this is a Mr. Fix-It from before we really used to do crafts. And this was something that he did. As he says, he started it and never got around to finishing it. But isn't it beautiful? I'll hold it up for you so you can see it.
Obviously an Egyptian theme.
Look at that. All the work in that. It's really gorgeous. This winter you should get it out again because it's really lovely.
Yeah, because she's really going to have time.
You never know,
You
right?
never know.
Right, so it is down to the signatures now, guys. I've put off everything I can. So let's mark through onto this side where the holes are. So back with the yoga mat, back with the pokey tool, and poke through where we've already got the holes so we can see them on the other side. That one go through, I guess so. Right, so we should have, yay, look at that. So my signature, I need the middle of my signature, I need to find where that is. And it measures, God, I've got some crazy measurements today, haven't we? It's 8 1/4, so I need to mark 4 1/2 on my spine.
Maybe now we've finished with that, we could
Move in a bit.
move in a bit.
4, what does it, 4 1/8, didn't I say?
Just turn you off and then there'll be a bit of wobbly camera as we zoom in. Zoom in, move it round, left and right, left and right, left and right. Oh. Oh, that's a bit too far. How about that? Is that all right?
Looks good to me. Oh, I don't know. Well, yeah, you're in the light, so that's why it's not looking too good.
Well, when
Yeah.
you're doing it, it goes into manual.
Oh, right, okay.
So I'll put it back into automatic.
I'm just checking that again because you know what I'm like with
Sorry
measurements.
for the earthquake.
So it's 8 1/4, so I need to measure 4 1/8.
Apparently they're all trying to tap me up for embroideries.
Really?
They say I'm not biting, but I've only just had a chance to read them. Regina wants one on burlap saying sunflower thoughts, apparently.
There you go. Right, so that's that. So line that up with your central hole and then mark where your other two holes are, which is there, and is that it there? Yeah, there. Right, so I need to press I need to press. I can't remember how to do this.
What are you doing now?
I'm going to have to measure it. Measure it on the inside like I normally do. Forget what I've just told you. Let's do it the way we normally do it. So I'm going to measure 4 and 1/10 down here. And that's going to be my centre. I don't know if you can see this. It's hard holding it out of the way.
Do you want me to hold that?
Yeah. Don't pull it. Sorry, I'm going to have to measure it again. Is it 8 1/4? 4 and 1/8. 4 and 1/8. Come on, girl. What's wrong with you? So right, that's one hole there. So I need to know how far away from each other these holes are. And they are 3 1/4. 3 1/4. Come on. That's not difficult. So 3 1/4, that's where my next hole is going to be. There, right there. And 3 1/4 up from there. Isn't it funny how you get brain fog sometimes? Just, I mean, total and utter brain fog. So that's where my next one's going to be. Right. Okay. So I'm going to use the same cotton pearl as you've seen me use loads of times before. You've actually, I'm sure you know how to do this by now, but for anybody new who hasn't seen it, we'll go through it because it's so I've got a big poker-like needle. It's quite long, so I can get through all the signature, etc, etc. And I'm going to take quite a length of this cotton pearl because I'd rather have too much than too little. Yeah, sorry about the vagaries in the middle of this video. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the bull by the horns and I am going to poke through where I want my holes, where I've marked them now. That's definitely, yeah, that's good. So there's one right through the squirrel. Sorry, mate. And then the other two where they're marked. So they want your embroideries, do they?
Yeah, they're saying I should have a shop on Etsy or an eBay shop.
Well, we can put a listing on Etsy if you want. Oh, they haven't come out exactly on the edge here. That's no good. The cover obviously wasn't as tight as it should have been. Let's just try that again.
Max wants to know, is cotton pearly your recommendation for signature sewing?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely is. It just doesn't fray, it doesn't stretch, it doesn't snap. Let's see where we are now. Yeah, that's better. It's a bit better. I wouldn't say it was perfect. So in through the centre of your signature, and then I haven't got my clips on anymore, so this is going to be interesting. And then in through your centre hole of your journal. So until we get this sort of sewn together, it's going to be a bit flippy flappy. So through your signature, through the centre hole of whichever line of holes you want to put it in. Leave a fairly long tail so it doesn't get pulled through accidentally. Then in through the bottom hole, I really can't move it much. And back through the bottom hole of your signature. It won't go through if your signature's just moved like mine. Where's my medal? The worst thing that you have to do is sort of thread each page through if you can't get it exactly right. but that's fine, unbelievably.
It's probably not the best job on a shaky day.
No, so pull that up like that, and then straight up to the hole in the top. And out through the hole that we've punched in the middle, like that, and through the hole that we've punched in the cover, like that. Great. Now we're getting places. So let's just pull this a little bit tighter. And then take this one. Oh, great. I'm not even in the line that I should be in. That's really helpful. So I'm coming back through because I shouldn't have been there in the first place. Oh, I'm gonna have to unthread my needle. I'm making a mountain
After what was quite an easy job.
out of something that you have seen me do 100 times before. Right, so where am I? What am I doing? Which planet am I on? Right, so into the top one of the same line of the ones that we've been doing. I'm sure any of you could do a video about this much better than this. And then back in through the middle where we started and out through that hole. So you might just have to line it up a little bit on the back. Make sure that you come in. My pages have moved. So this is the worst thing ever that could happen, is that your pages all move. And you've just sort of got to feed them through manually. Now then, right, let's just get that up here. Now what we want, we've got this long stitch that goes right down the middle, and we've got two tails that are coming off it, and they're both on the same side as that long stitch. Oh, that's all right for one moment. I thought it sewn it in upside down. Oh dear, which is kind of like something that would happen today, I think. But what you really want is you want one tail on each side of that long stitch. Just so then when we knot it, it's much more secure. So let's tidy it all up, tighten it up. So tighten that, tighten this. And just flip it over and make sure it does look quite tight. Yeah, that looks lovely actually. Despite all our shenanigans, it looks quite nice. I'm just going to take my needle off the end, and then I'm going to knot it over that middle piece. So you had one tail on each end, and you're now knotting it over the central long stitch.
It's always the way with lives. You can do things in your sleep, but when you turn the camera on.
Ain't that the truth? And then I generally just tie a bow and leave it in the central section. This is the right way of it here. So you don't need big lugs like that, just little small, yeah, like that. So it's just going to lie nicely there. It looks hand tied. Now if you wanted to, you could leave these longer and tie a bead or several beads on the end over the side of the journal. I'm not doing that, but you know, it's your journal. You do what you want to do. This doesn't really fray, but just in case, I'm just going to tie a knot in it and then cut off below the knot, just in case it frays, because you never know.
Desiree says, what type of string would you use?
For this?
Yeah.
Well, this is a thread called cotton perlé. It's a thing. Crochet people use it, and it's ideal. It comes in loads of different colours. I've got the beige, and then it goes with virtually everything. But you could use embroidery floss. you know, the stuff that comes in 6
For your cross stitch and stuff.
for your cross stitch or your embroidery or, you know, whatever. Right, so we've got a signature in our journal. My goodness, that was a bit of a mountain out of a molehill, wasn't it? And it's looking quite nice down there. It's looking tidy. So let's tackle the next one. That's nice, actually. I like that. So here's our next one. Same thing, except I can't remember the measurements. Of course I can't. Don't be ridiculous. Why would I? I'm not going to clip it because I didn't have much luck clipping the last one. So I think it was it 4 1/8?
4 1/10 or something you said.
4 1/8, I think. I've taken all of the ephemera out that I could possibly get out, but of course we've got stuff stuck in as well. That music paper needs to get shuffled down a little bit, sticking up. Okay. So in the centre of your signature, measure halfway. So 8 1/4, so 4 1/8. 4 1/8. So it's there. That's where it is. I'm just going to push through now. I'm going to be brave and I'm going to do it. Let's hope that that's all nice and tight. Perfect, look, it's absolutely perfect. I'm getting the hang of this. My goodness. And where's my other one? Oh, glory.
Max has got to go now. She'll catch the rest later.
I don't blame you, Max. I've got to go myself. Bye. What did that measure? 3.
Jen says clips, but you decided not to use them.
Yeah, I thought the clips unhelped me. Is that 3 1/4? Could you just measure that distance for me, please?
What distance?
From the middle hole to that hole. I think it's 3 1/4.
Can't see the holes from here. There's one. Where's the other? There.
Yeah. 3 1/4.
3 1/4.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much. Excellent. I thought it was, but you know, if you don't measure, accidents happen. So I'm just going to pencil mark that for the time being and put my one up here at 3 1/4 as well. So yeah, I mean, if you guys want some journal titles embroidered or whatever, I'll put a listing for it on my Etsy shop, which is now empty. There's nothing in there at all. You've all been very busy buying. Thank you very much indeed to everybody who's purchased anything. It basically all gets ploughed back into making the lives and stuff, and I so appreciate it. And some people very generously donate to the channel. You know, thank you. I'm so blessed to have you all. Right. Well, they are absolutely bang on. Couldn't be more banger on if they tried. So it's the same process. Same process. I'm using cotton perlé. As I said, you could use embroidery floss, which is readily available, I think. Anything that's doesn't have any stretch to it and it's not too keen to fray. I could do with some scissors that cut. I might just order some, you know. I really might. Take the bull by the horns and order some Fiscus scissors. Right. So same. In through the centre, out through the centre that you've poked there. So we'll get that there, and then in through the centre of the cover. You kind of need 3 hands for this, you just do. It's just one of those things you need 3 hands for. Out through the top hole and into our, out through the journal like that, and then into our journal at the top hole, which I can't see for a moment. It's there, I think. I've moved all my journal now. Oh! Mr. Fix-It's just come with a pair of scissors. This has just all moved on me now, so sorry about that, guys. We're just going to have to thread it through a bit piecemeal. Can't even see the hole in that one. Can't even see the hole. Is that it? No.
What did you do?
No. I don't know where the hole is. Looks like it's in the wrong place. The hole looks like it's there. Oh no, I can see it. Come on. Jiminy Cricket, I'm very sorry about this, guys. It's
easiest job of the day.
I know, I wasn't even thinking about this, that this would be difficult. Is that the hole? No, that's the hole. Should have clipped Jen, you're quite right. Kept it all together. Right, finally, I think we're there. I think we've made it. Help me make it through the night, or in this case, through the
People
line.
say they like the circular tuck spot.
Yeah, it's just nice in the centre, isn't it? Something different.
And Fiona says, what do you think about waxed thread?
Yeah, waxed thread's excellent. Yeah, waxed thread would be brilliant. This second signature is slightly more awkward because you're having to deal with the first signature as well. The sort of extra weight of it, etc. Right, so straight down. I haven't allowed myself that much thread this time. And out the bottom hole that you've marked, I'm just going to do these one by one, and that way then I know I've got them right. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. So what shall I do tomorrow, guys? Shall I use up some of the cheap downloads that I got from the journal papery? Or is there something else you'd like to see? Oh yeah. I thought I'd sewn it to the tablecloth. What's going on with me today? I'm kind of losing sense of what I'm doing here. Right, so I'm hanging on to that. I'm tightening everything up. And I am coming... Oh no, I need to go through there. Come on. I bet you're all screaming at me, aren't you? You know, because this is so easy to do this.
Ellen says some people use wax dental floss.
Really?
Well, it doesn't snap, I suppose.
Yeah, doesn't snap, yeah. It is a bit, it's perhaps a bit white for what I would want to use, but I don't know if you can dye it or not. I doubt it, it's plastic, isn't it? So let's see if we can just get this to come up through the middle here. Yeah, it would have been too easy, wouldn't it? It would have been too easy for you to do that. Try not to skewer your thread. Split your thread. Good job, these aren't huge signatures, isn't it? What should have been a real easy job has just become a nightmare. Oh, that's coming up there. Right, finally. I've split my thread. Kind of one thing I don't want to do really is split that thread. Let's see if I can get out of it. Yeah, there we are, excellent. Right, so I'm just tightening it up like I did the last one. I made a mountain out of that, guys, sorry. It's not that difficult. So let's just see if we've got it tight. Quite tight. This bottom bit could do with another little tighten up.
Jen wants to know how the cover edge is finished, but we'll move on to that next.
Yeah. So I'm just going to, same as before, put one bit each side of this big long central stitch. Just check that that's tight. It's not really. So I'm just going to tighten it a bit more. Be careful when you are tightening this that you're not ripping your pages, your signature pages. Yeah, that's okay. So I've got one piece each side of the long central stitch. Pull it tight, you know, but not ridiculously so that you're going to tear your pages.
Siri says her battery's almost dead. She'll have to watch on replay.
Oh, Desiree, I'm sorry. I've rabbited on for so long. Tie bow. There we go. Pull those down. Tie a little knot in the end of each one. I'm heartened by the fact you've watched me do this several times before and you actually know that I do know how to do this. I'm just making a bit of a mountain out of it today. Don't think I've even finished my coffee.
Carrie says she's got to go.
Thanks for watching, Kerry. Thank you very much for your company. Right, so that's that. Our signatures are in. It's made. It hasn't got all the ephemera in, which is why it looks a bit thin at this end, but they all need popping back in. But what we're going to do now is take some pinking shears and we're just going to pink around the outside. Take care when you come to here. We'll talk about that in a while. So that's the edge. So you can draw yourself a line if you want to, if you'd be more confident. I'm allowing about 1/2 inch and I'm just going to go around it all. And it'll sort of stop it fraying, but it gives a nice edge too. So it just looks quite nice. Right, don't forget when you come to here, don't pink this off. Otherwise, we might as well not have done it.
Oh, we're back to the sewing machine.
Yeah, back to the sewing machine. So I'm going to come to there and then I'm just going to do this bit separately up to the top.
Carrie says she's a first-time journalist and she hopes to see you tomorrow.
I hope I haven't put you off with all my stupidity today. It's sometimes they're better than this, aren't they, guys? Sometimes I get things right. So down here, make sure that you don't get your sari silk caught up. day I'm having, it would be kind of a day that would happen. We can come back later on and I'll just do it now. It's just not quite the same on both sides. Not that it matters particularly. There we are. And then along the top.
Lynn wants to know if you have a wish list set up on Amazon.
No, I don't actually, Lynn. No, I don't. Perhaps I ought to do that.
Regina says she needs some shears.
Some shears or some pink? You mean pinking
I
shears?
presume that's what she means.
Oh, it's a shame you didn't know before they had that sale at Hobby Lobby last week, because when you walked me around, all the Fiskars stuff was 50% off, because they're not a cheap thing, pinking shears. So it's just down this last side.
Avoiding the silk again.
Avoiding the sari silk. I'm just going to go. I'm going to put my hand over the sari silk so I don't cut it. Well, hopefully don't cut my hand either.
Well, before tomorrow's live, I'll make sure you take your medication.
Yeah, I know. I'm really sorry. I take certain drugs that make me very shaky, and I have got drugs to take to stop me being shaky. But I didn't think I was having a shaky day, so I didn't take them because they make you feel a bit nauseous. And it turned out I was having a shaky day, so I'm really sorry, guys. So there we are. We've pinked around the edges. We've got our signatures in. We've got something to tie it with. We've got a plaque on the front, which I will put a listing for in the Etsy shop. And I'll put, for those of you new folk that don't watch us very often, we've got an associated Facebook group where all the people that you find hanging out here with me today hang out over in the Facebook group, and it's simply called Junk Journal Group. Dead easy to remember. So it'd be nice, you know, join up there and add your 2 pennies to whatever's going on. I'm just going to start to put back all the ephemera. I can't even remember which one's which. Right, this is the squirrel, so this is this one, I think. Oh, blimey. Yeah, that's right.
Anne said her pinking shears cost her £27
Yeah.
in the sale.
In the sale, yeah, I know they are dear. They're very expensive things. Did that go there? I'm gonna have blinking fun and frolics, aren't I? Trying to remember. I did take them out in a specific order, but with the whole excitement of the day.
Lynn says if you set up a wish list, they can all bless you with supplies.
Well, it's very nice thought, actually. Obviously, I had some things that went in there. I'll do this. I'll fathom this out, and I'll do a walkthrough of it, and I'll put it on the. I'll put it on Etsy, but it's not going to be the most expensive journal I've ever put on Etsy. Heads up, it's going to be very realistically priced, because it is a 101, and you have watched me do it, and that was the purpose of it, really. But it's looking nice. Do you think? Ties up there. So you've watched me go through all the trials and tribulations. Get a nice bow there, and that's it. And it'll sit flat. When we've got all this ephemera back in it, it'll sit nice and flat. So there you go. I think we're about done. I'm about done in. And I'm sure you are too. I'm so grateful to you guys. You stick with me through thick and thin, and you're so supportive. You really are. You're the best. And I'll see you tomorrow when I decide. Well, you'll see when I create the event what we've decided to do. So I'll see you then, 2 o'clock. Thanks to all the newbies. Don't forget the Facebook group, Junk Journal Group, that's what it's called. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, if you haven't already, that would be gratefully appreciated. That's all I've got to say today. I'm done in. You've done me in. But there we go. Doesn't it look nice? So there's the spine and the back. got there in the end, eh? All right, see you tomorrow, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.